Okay, so continuing on with compound criteria in problem 7, we're told our shopper would like to see all clocks from Germany, Austria, or Switzerland. So this is another or condition. However, we have 3 countries involved instead of just 2. So I've already begun a query here, and you have multiple ways of doing this. Your first instinct would probably be to do something like this. Type in Germany, that takes care of that country, and then we'll drop down a row and do Austria, watching my typing, of course. And then, I can just keep adding countries. The bottom half of the grid or so, the query grid, they're just all or rows. So if I drop down yet another row and type Switzerland, then that adds that country to the or criteria. So let's go ahead and run this and look at the results. It's what we're expecting. That's one way of doing it. Okay, so if you want to do the criteria on 3 different rows, that's fine. Here's another way. You could probably guess this yourself without me. We can type Germany or Austria or Switzerland. Okay. Notice how Access kind of does what it needs to do. It'll put quotes around my country names. It'll capitalize the O in the ORs. So let's run that. The results are the same. Okay. So that's another way of doing that. And then there's yet another way of doing this. And this is not in this particular chapter, but it's a couple of chapters from now when we do more queries. And this is really a good place to demonstrate this technique. I'm going to zoom in on this. I'm in the criteria row. You don't have to, I'm just zooming so you can see what I'm typing and for the sake of the video. You wouldn't have to do this particular step when you're working yourself at home. So what I can type as the criteria is this is a keyword in Access, and then I open a set of parentheses, and in the parentheses I will type a set of values that I'm interested in seeing. For example, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Again, watching my typing. Okay? So I click OK, and you can see Access did what it needed to do with the quotes. I didn't type those, but Access will add those. And this is the criteria. So this is actually, it just looks nicer than the previous 2 methods that I used for this query. Yeah, it's not a big deal if you want to list all the countries in the column using the or rows, or just hand type the Germany or Austria or Switzerland. But this is actually very nice. If you're looking for compound criteria in a situation like this where you have 3 or more items that you're interested in, consider doing it this way because it just looks much cleaner. So I'll go ahead and run that, and you can see the results are the same. Okay, let's see what we have here. Problem 8. Oh, okay, this will be a quick, easy one. Our shopper is interested in clocks that were released before the turn of the millennium, meaning any clock that was released before January 1st, 2000. Include all fields or columns. Okay, so let's see. All right. Not surprisingly, we're interested in this issue date column. And dates are like numbers. Remember the less than $500? We use the less than or greater than. In that case, we use the less than. But dates are like numbers, and you have to start thinking of dates, like when you're confronted with a problem like this, you have to think of the dates as less than or greater than one another. For example, today's date is greater than yesterday's date. Okay, and I think instinctively that probably rings true. Today's date is less than tomorrow's date. Okay, so dates are just numbers. It's really the computer really tracks dates as pure numbers behind the scenes, but they're formatted as dates that we can recognize. So think of dates as greater than or less than each other, depending on how recent they are, or where they took place in the past or whatnot. Okay, so we're interested in clocks. I think I'll zoom on this just in case it's difficult to see. Again, that part is not required, but we're interested in anything that was created before January 1st of 2000. Okay? And you'll notice Access did what it needed to do. I didn't do this. This is what Access does to dates. Because this particular field, the issue date field, is a date time data type. Access knows that. It picks up on that. And this is how we query dates. They're contained in pound signs. When you query text values, they're contained in quotes. Access fills them in. And then dates are contained in pound signs. So don't delete those. They need to be there. Okay, so we're interested in anything before this particular date. Let's go ahead and run it, see what we get. Okay, and look, they're all in the 1990s.